Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and place to be, it's Debsy. That's me. Boop, Debsy. Hey guys, and happy Sunday. I hope everybody is having a great day and a great weekend. This hair looks like a bird got in it and was like, blue, blue, woo, 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 lapping. So, like I said, I hope everybody is having a great day and a great weekend. You did not get a video from me on Thursday or Friday. You got a brief interlude for me yesterday. I don't know what that's about, but I'm back. I'm going to give you two today. But what I'm going to be talking about right now, I'm not going to give a full review of the new Taylor Swift double album, The Tortured Poets Department, the anthology. I'm not going to go through each and every song. I'm just going to talk about some of the songs. So this came out, in case you didn't know, in case you've been living under a rock, her album came out on Friday. Friday, for those of us on the East Coast, it came out at midnight. Did I stay up until midnight? No, I didn't. However, went to the bathroom, got up a little bit after 4, probably about 4:15, went to the bathroom, got back to my bed, and was like, let me check out TikTok and see what's going on. Terrible mistake, because once I saw that TikTok, I was like, oh, forget it. I can't sleep. I have to listen to this album. So I got up 5:30 and got dressed as much as I could. That means putting on a bra at least. Get in my car, listening to it on Apple Music, and going up to Starbucks and get my breakfast. So I did listen to it. At first, I thought it was just 17 tracks. I came home, I watched the Today Show a little bit, realized it's not 17 tracks. It's 31 tracks. It is a double album. That is 2 hours and 3 minutes worth of music. This, folks, is an endeavor. Upon listening to the first part of it, I immediately said, oh, I really like this. I did listen to the whole album. I've listened to it the whole way through about probably I'm going to say 2 times. I've listened to the whole thing completely twice. And then I went through and I've listened to individual tracks that I kind of have deemed my favorites. At first I was like, oh, I know clear-cut favorites. The more I listen to it, the more I'm like, wait a minute, I'm kind of really digging this one. So here's the thing. For me, I became a Swiftie with the 1989 album. Am I a diehard, like I pay attention to everything and I know all the Easter eggs? Hell, I don't even know all the words to all of the songs. So I'm like a mid-Swiftie. I'm not a Swiftie that can go through and pick out all of the clues. I can't tell you who each song is written about. I mean, I have my thoughts on who they're written about, but that's the thing. I feel like when you listen to Taylor Swift's music, the fun thing about it is trying to figure out, like, who is this written about? Because I don't think she's ever going to come out and be like, this was written by this person, about this person and this guy and this guy. I think that's kind of the fun of it. You go through and you find your Easter eggs and you develop a theory on who you think it's about. So what do I think about the album? Listen, I love it, but I completely understand if somebody, when they first listen to it, they don't enjoy it. I think this is an album that, number one, I don't think it's for a casual listener. Like, if you enjoyed the earlier Taylor Swift albums, I don't know that this is for you. Like, I don't know if this is an album for someone who really loves the bangers and the more poppy songs of hers. Are there someone here that are pop inspired? Yeah, there are. They're in, like, I believe they're in the first, what are you doing? the first 17 songs. The first 17 songs, I don't know if this is correct, but I'm thinking that it might be, those are the ones that are produced by Jack Antonoff. Jack Antonoff, him and Taylor Swift have worked together extensively. I don't think she should stop working with him. However, I think she should maybe expand out and include more people in her production universe, is all I'm gonna say. I grew up in the 80s. I was a teenager in the 80s, so I love synthesizers. However, in some of the songs on this album, I could have done without them. Like I don't want to say the production value wasn't as great, but maybe. At first, my favorite songs were on the first part of the album. But then once I heard the other ones, the second part of the album kind of reminds me, it gives me more like Folklore or Evermore vibes is what I'm feeling like. That's just what I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I feel like. So like I said, I'm not really, at first I was like, this is, like I said, this is a favorite song, this is a favorite song. But then upon further listening, songs that I was like, I don't know about this song, kind of grew on me. And I feel like that's because of the lyrics. Listen, whether you like Taylor Swift's actual music or not, you cannot take away from her that she is a great songwriter. She really knows how to write a song. And when she writes a song, she puts a lot of thought into the concept of a song, because some of these songs, one in particular, that some people might not realize is a diss track, but she named it after the Greek goddess of prophecy and placed herself in the Greek goddess of prophecy, which is Cassandra, and cast herself as Cassandra and used that to kind of tell a modern story. And that modern story was the whole thing with Kanye, Kim, and the edited phone call. I'm going to get back and get to that. But she puts a lot of I don't want to say a lot of thought into the songwriting, but you have to, in order to understand it, you kind of have to go through and look up things on Google, like a Cassandra. I would not have known that if not for TikTok. That's why TikTok, among many reasons, should not go away. But that's how I found out about it. I would not have known Cassandra. So that's that. So let's get into some of the songs. I'm not going to go into every song. I'm just going to talk about some songs because there's 31 songs and I just can't go over all of them. Okay, so first of all, my first favorite was, and I'm going to hold on to this. I'm not saying this is my number one favorite. This was an early favorite and it stayed a favorite. And that is LOML. LOML typically stands for Love of My Life. This, however, is not. She rephrased it and it's Loss of My Life. This, I feel that this is Joe Alwyn. This is one of the songs that I almost felt bad for listening to it because you really see into her mind and you see that this was devastating. I mean, when you listen to it, you see that you get the feeling that that he kind of hid her away, and it seemed to me like he was almost, I don't want to say he was embarrassed of it, but it's devastating. That song, I do it to myself every time. I'm like, let's listen to this song. I know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to end up crying for like 5 minutes straight, but I still listen to it. I almost feel like we shouldn't listen to it, but I do, because it's just so good, but it is so heartbreaking. And the same goes for So Long London was another one. It's absolutely about Joe Alwyn, and it's another one that's just, it's devastating. I mean, she lets you in, but you almost kind of feel like an intruder, like you shouldn't. Should I be listening to this? So those are two of my favorites. The other ones that are written about him, we think it's LOML, So Long London, My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, Black Dog. Okay, let's talk about Fortnight. This is her duet with Post Malone. Going into this, I'm not a huge Post Malone fan. I think he has a great voice. I think when people look at him, they're like, people who were maybe older and look at him and just see a tattooed face and they think, well, what the heck is this? He has a beautiful voice. He really does. His voice blends so beautifully and perfectly with hers. I just wish that you could hear more of him. I wish that he had a bigger voice in this. I also, if you had heard before, before the release of the album, there was an AI version of this. I kind of prefer the AI version a little more. If we're talking collabs that were on this album, I think the better collaboration was Florida. And she did that with Florence Welch from Florence and the Machine. I love that song. I mean, am I saying Fortnight is not good? Fortnight is good. It's stuck in my head. The corresponding video that just premiered at 8 p.m. on Friday is very intricate, full of a lot of Easter eggs. Ethan Hawke and Josh Charles from Dead Poet Society have a cameo in it. It's chock full of Easter eggs and references. Beautifully done, black and white, and just beautifully done. But I don't know if this should have been the lead single. I think that they decided to do this as the lead single because it's Post Malone. That's a draw. I'm not saying I don't like Fortnight, I do. But if we're looking at the better collaboration on this, it's Florida, and I did love Florida. Okay, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? That was giving me like Reputation meets Willow. Like it kind of had a witchy vibe. That right there I'm convinced that was written about the music industry and how the music industry tried to like tame her. That has just, she goes from being like hurt to being angry. That was chilling. That right there, when she has Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, and then there's a hesitation, and then she says you should be. I'm like, oh, ooh, wow. That right there was chilling. That is definitely in my top. It's in my top 3, if not my top 2 favorite songs on this album. That's a great song. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. This song, a lot of people online are saying they think from this song that maybe Taylor and Joe had broken up earlier than they actually did. This right here to me is her talking about having to go through and do the Eras Tour in the middle of this breakup. I enjoyed it. I mean, and I know I said before that maybe the synthesizers did not work in some of the songs, but it worked in this one. And this is a song where you would want to listen to it with like earbuds or headphones or something so that you can hear the little details, because one of the details was they have like a clicking, and they say 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's what she would hear in her inner ear, like during the concert, and she has something in her ear that will like counts the beat, so she always knows like what's coming up and where the beat is. That is something, like that is a detail that I don't expect from a lot of people, but you would kind of expect that from Taylor Swift. And it's also, she's like, what did she say? She says something like, I act like every day is my birthday or something like that, like just to get through it. Or she says, what does she say? I cannot remember. You're all at home screaming at what she says, but she says, basically like, I'm miserable, but I'm productive. That's relatable because that's every day. Like, if there's 9 out of 10 days, I'm probably at some point I'm miserable, but I'm putting on a smile and I'm working through it. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. I love that song. Let's talk about Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. That, my friends, was written about Matty Healy. Matty Healy, in case you don't know, 1975 frontman. From what I've read, it appears like maybe those two had a thing for longer than people thought, because we all thought that when she broke up with Joe and then she was dating Matty Healy for like a month, because we would see her, you would see him in the VIP tent at concerts. He was looking at her very lovingly, and we were like, oh, well, that's something. Apparently, they had maybe been going back and forth and had some love for each other, had some feelings for each other, I guess since like 2014. Because a bunch of people had said on TikTok that at one of the 1975 shows back in 2014, he had sang a song about loving someone and was staring like right at her. So who knows how long that was going on. But this song, the reason why I was thinking it was about him was because, number one, she said that he wears a Jehovah's Witness suit. Matty Healy, for a lot of his concerts, from the videos that I have seen, he performs in a suit that would kind of give you a Jehovah's Witness vibes. She mentions him buying pills. That Matty Healy has had documented issues with substance abuse. And also she had said something about rusting my sparkling summer, which they were dating for a month during the Eras tour. So that, to me, before I even saw it on TikTok, I was like, maybe this might not be about Joe. This might be about Matty Healy. So listen, this song, Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, because it started off quiet. Then it got very biting and very angry. This right here, this to me is more rageful and more biting than like Dear John or All Too Well. That's what I think. And from what I understand, people are thinking that this is an album. I thought this was going to be an album purely directed at Joe Alwyn, but I don't think that anymore. There are quite a few songs that people were saying could very well be written about Maddie Healy. Fortnight, The Tortured Poets Department, Down Bad, But Daddy, I Love Him, Fresh Out the Slammer. Fresh Out the Slammer is a song that I'm not a big fan of. But people are saying that Fresh Out the Slammer could have to do with, it was written about like she just broke up with Joe, and then she went to Maddie Healy. What's the other ones? No, I can fix him. No, really, I can. Yeah, those are the ones. So quite a few people were saying that they think that maybe she wrote a lot of these songs about Maddie Healy to piss off Joe. I don't know if that's the case, but to me, it seems like there are quite a few songs about Maddie Healy on this album. Okay. And next song. Okay. So now we talked about Maddie Healy, Joe Alwyn. How about her current man, Travis Kelce? Are there any songs about him? There's two. We believe the collective Swiftie universe believes that The Alchemy and So High School are about Travis. This next song, The Black Dog, was written about Joe. The Black Dog was one of the songs when I was talking to my friend Emily from Emily's Life on Wheels. She said, "What's your favorite song?" This is one that I put in there, and that's The Black Dog. This, at some point in it, it kind of gave me country vibes. It was a sad song. It was a good song. I enjoyed that one. Okay, we have two songs that are about either Kim Kardashian or the Kardashians. The first one's very obvious. It's Thank You, Amy. We know that because KIM and Thank You, Amy are capitalized. So that's obvious. That one is about, that's about Kim Kardashian. There are some lines in that make it very obvious. She had said that the one line where she says, when your kid comes home singing a song that the two of us know I wrote about you, or something like that. Woo, okay. And the other one was my mother is a saintly woman, but she wished you, I'm not going to say the word, TikTok, unalived. Wow. I mean, Taylor, if she gets a diss track, she is not going to come directly out and call you out right by your government name in the song. She's going to hide it in there with those. That was a song. That was a good song. It was good. I'm just going to say this. I don't know so much about wishing death on, like I'm a little like, it was still a good song. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. Or bringing the kid into it. I mean, Northwest is a little bit of a brat from what I've seen on like social media, but still, it was a good song. It was a very good song, but those two, I was like, I don't know. But ultimately she does say, even though this happened, I had to push that stone. I had to push that rock up the hill harder. You made me work harder. So without you, I wouldn't have this. Thank you. I mean, we're not going to be friends. However, you made me work for where I am. Thank you for that. Now, the other one that is about Kim Kardashian and that whole Kanye, Kim, and the phone call. It's Cassandra. Cassandra, like I said, Cassandra was in Greek times. She was the daughter of the king and queen of Troy. She was the goddess of prophecy. She was the goddess with the gift of prophecy. Well, Apollo, the god Apollo, was in love with her. She rejected him, so he put a curse on her that nobody would believe her prophecies. Let's move this into modern day times. And there was this whole, the whole thing with the phone call. And they released this phone call making it sound like Taylor Swift was okay with Kanye calling her a bitch in a song and all this when she didn't say that. They put this edited version of the phone call out. Taylor said this, nobody would believe her. And if you remember, that's when it was like hashtag party, Taylor Swift party's over. And when she was canceled, excuse me, it's getting me choked up. When she was canceled and when everybody was coming for her and calling her a snake. And she says that in the song. They play snakes in my cell. Well then, and everybody was out to get her and nobody would believe her, just like Cassandra. And eventually, when it came out that this was an edited phone call and it was suddenly quiet before, everybody was after her about being a liar and being a snake and this and that because they believed Kim and Kanye, and then the truth comes out and nobody believes her. That's what Cassandra's about. So once again, thank you for the for the Swifties on TikTok. I would not have known that. I don't know Greek mythology. Okay, next one is The Prophecy. This is a song that I did not pay much attention to at all. Thankfully, I listened to it more and it has grown on me. It has grown on me as a song that I do really enjoy. This is a song that she's basically saying, I've given so much of myself in these relationships. I've changed who I am in these relationships. And it always ends. And listen, I don't want money. I don't want money. I want somebody to want my company. And that's it. This song was written. This is relatable. This is a song that was written for those of us who are single, those of us who were never chosen, those of us who are a third wheel, those of us who are always going to be a friend. This is the song that I can relate to the most on this album. I am secure now in being single, and it's what I choose. However, this song in my 20s, in my 30s, when I was watching all my friends get married and have boyfriends, and I was wondering, well, what about me? This is a song that would have broke me, that would have broke me. And even looking back at it now, and taking me back to how I felt back then. No, ma'am. This song, The Prophecy, I'm going to say, The Prophecy is at least in my top, I'm going to say this is in my top 5 of songs on this album. If you're not listening to the song, it's what are you doing with your life? It is a heartbreaking and relatable song. And the last song that I'm going to talk about is The Manuscript. It's the last song on the album. This song, oh, that's attractive. This song was written about Jake Gyllenhaal. This is the perfect last song. I feel like it's written about Jake Gyllenhaal. I say that because at one point she says, I wish I could have been in my 30s when we were together. That's how I know that it's written about Jake Gyllenhaal. And it might even be, the manuscript might very well be like All Too Well. The thing that I love about this song, it's the perfect last song, but the last verse is something like, now I've let it all out and it's no longer mine. So this, to me, I feel like is her ending that era. Like she's written it all down. She's gotten it out. She shared it with the world. So this is it. This is her moving on. I'm glad because she got a lot out. Like if you do listen to all 31 songs, I'm going to tell you to listen on either earbuds or headphones so you can get all of it. Is it an album for everybody? No, I don't think it is. I think when you first listen to it, you might not enjoy it. It is an album that you have to listen to the whole way through uninterrupted. And I feel like it's an album that when you listen to it, the more you listen to it and the more nuances you pick up, the more you're going to love this album. Do I think it is one of her better albums? I do. But here's the thing. I know people were like, well, it's not going to win album of the year and this and that. I don't do this thing where I'm going to compare one female's album to another female's album. I don't like that. I don't like when people, the media, fans, whoever, pit like one female artist against another. They all have their own story to tell. You know, Taylor Swift's story is not the same as Beyonce's story, is not the same as Ariana Grande's story, is not the same as Olivia Rodrigo's story. Everybody has a different story to tell. And there's plenty of room at the table for all of these stories. So I'm not gonna say, you know, I'm not gonna say that. I think personally, I became a fan of Taylor Swift's during a more poppy time, which was 1989. I'm finding myself more and more gravitating towards songs that are more along the vein of like Folklore, Evermore, Midnights for me was one of her best albums. This, like I said, this album, it might not be for everybody. Like I said, if you're a fan of her earlier albums that are more poppy, it might not be for you. And that's not bad. I'm not a person who thinks that if you're a fan of somebody's, you have to love every single thing that they do, because there are some songs in here that I'm just not a fan of. Am I a fan of, I'm not that big a fan of, what was it? I'm not that big a fan of Down Bed. People seem to love that song. I, for some reason, am not. I mean, could that change once I go through and listen to it again? It could. But I'm not that big a fan of that. I'm not that big a fan of I'm Gonna Get You Back, which is, in my mind, about Maddie Healy. I'm not a fan of that. But listen, I might be in the future when I go through and listen to it, which I'm going to be listening to this album many, many more times. So that right there, that is my thoughts on Taylor Swift, the Tortured Poet Department. In the comments, let me know if you listen to it what your favorite song is, which one you're just not a fan of. And with that being said, I hope everybody has a great day. If nobody told you yet today, I love you. You're loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, positivity, and understanding out there. And also, another thing that made me happy. Listen, Taylor Swift has obviously moved on and is very happy with Travis Kelce because she put this out, and then on her socials, she did the Fortnite challenge where she put out little short clips of her happy times. And her happy times include like her and Travis cooking dinner and him kissing her, and her doing crafting and baking and playing pickleball. So good for her. I hope she leaves this in the past and she moves on to happier times. So, like I always like to say, take care of one another. Number 1, please be aware of your surroundings. Number 2, please stay safe. I love you guys. I will see you maybe later. Bye, guys.